Well, it's another installment of the Showcase series, and I love the Doctor Who books, I do, but I haven't got any books since June this year, so what's the best thing to do? Get a huge parcel from eBay. So welcome everyone, YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics, to another Showcase video, number 40, and as you can see, it's just a huge bundle I got for eBay. Yep, this is just a huge parcel filled with Doctor Who books. So, without further ado, let's open this. Probably going to take a while. Alright, let's open this. We're going to have to use the power of fast time travel. God, that was the most difficult parcel I've ever opened. Right, we got all the books here. These aren't Target books, as you can see they're a lot more thick, and you might have noticed that one of them was a Virgin book. I'm going to take these all out of the bag, so I'm just going to do a jump cut. God, I got a really rare one, it's in perfect condition, that's unbelievable, that is. Right, I put these in order, took me quite a while, just to see how many books there are. Just a huge pile of books. None of these are Target books, these are all Virgin books. As I've got quite a lot of BBC books, if I just take a look here, I've got quite a few, but Virgin, I'm actually on the low side. I am actually, Love and War's literally missing by there, but I'll get it back in a minute. But yeah, I've only got 2 new adventures and 5 Virgin missing adventures, and I looked at myself, God, I love Virgin books as well. I got so little of them, but got quite a few of the BBC ones, so yeah, I really wanted to get some more Virgin books. That is why I've just got a huge pile of Virgin books by here. Within this book bundle, there is one of them which I did already have, which is Love and War. As you see, I've already got it here. And the one I got previously is in a lot better condition, whereas this one in the bundle wasn't in the best of conditions, but luckily the other books within the bundle are actually in very good conditions, and some of them are very rare and in perfect condition, which is fantastic. You can see this book looks like it's got coffee stains over it, but it looks, and the pages are really brown. You can see a complete difference of the bundle's Love and War and my Love and War. See, that is a massive difference. You can see the book has had some age on it. So yeah, that's in a bit of a bad state, but the Love and War I've got, it's just got nice white pages, so that's good. So yeah, but I didn't lose anything because I've already got Love and War in a fantastic condition. So anyway, let's move on to the book bundle. Book number 1 from the Virgin New Adventures, it is Time Wirram Genesis by John Peel, which is in fact the first Virgin book of the New Adventures. And yeah, John Peel has done quite a few books. He's more well known for his Dalek books, which is War of the Daleks and Legacy of the Daleks, also his adaptation, so his novelisation, sorry, of Power of the Daleks and Evil of the Daleks as well, which are 2 cracking books, especially, well, I've got Evil of the Dalek. But yeah, Time Wirram is the arc which starts off the New Adventures. There's 4 books in it, which is Time Wirram Genesis, Time Wirram Exodus, Time Wirram Apocalypse, and Time Wirram Revelation. So yeah, it's nice to have the first Virgin book, and this was a very thin book, and strange that I don't have Time Worm Genesis actually written on there, which is quite odd. I've just got John Peel. If that's just a misprint on mine, or it's just like that with all the books and they decided to just put the name there. So I don't really know. It's about 222 pages, so it's on the short side, because some of the Virgin books are really thick, especially like Sky Pirates, for example, and Warlock. They're very thick books, or Lucifer Horizon, so this is on the thinner side of Virgin books. Next one I've got is the second Virgin book, Time Worm Exodus by Terrence Dicks, and this is the one out of Time Worm arc I am most looking forward to, because I've done a little bit of research into the Time Worm arc, and what I found out about Time Worm Exodus, there is something which really excites me. I'm not going to say what it is, because it can potentially spoil another Doctor Who story, and a villain as well, so I'm not really going to go into that. But yeah, I'm very excited when I witnessed what villain is in this book, so I can't wait to check this one out. It's set in an alternative universe where the Germans actually won the war, and is with Hitler and this other character which I cannot name, unfortunately, because that's spoilers for the book. Yeah, it has Time Worm Exodus by there, but strangely it doesn't have... Actually, I could see Terrence Dicks actually there. It's just really faded, it is. But yeah, out of the arc, this is the one I am most looking forward to, Time Worm Exodus. So that's quite a nice cover art as well, very nicely done, and artwork is brilliant on this book. Next one is the third book within the Time Worm arc, which is Time Worm Apocalypse by Nigel Robinson. And this, I think, is the most finished Virgin book I have seen so far. Probably just a few more pages, about 20 to 30 pages. No, I think 20 pages. Let's have a little check. This book here is about 180 pages. And this one is, yeah, 20 pages different. So yeah, that's a very thin Virgin book. A lot of people say this is the weakest out of the Time Worm arc, but I don't know that yet. But yes, very thin. Not sure anything about Apocalypse, because I haven't really researched into the Apocalypse story. Only really Exodus, because it had such a fascinating villain who I'm a big fan of. That's why I know a bit more about Exodus and its story plot, set in an alternative timeline where Germans won the war, but I don't know anything about this one. But it looks intriguing, a very nice cover art, very psychedelic cover design. Next one, it actually isn't Time Worm Revelation, it's not part of my bundle. I just need Revelation, and that's it, because these books are rather thin, and I think it would be a great start for people to get into the Virgin books and books overall, because they're very thin, and it doesn't look like it will require a lot of time to read them. So yeah, Time Worm really intrigues me, this arc. Again, I don't know too much about the arc. I really want to go into the arc surprised, really, because I don't know at all what Time Worm is about, but I know a little bit about Exodus, as the story fascinated me quite a lot. Next one is Nightshade by Mark Gatiss, and this one's being adapted in April 2016. I'm glad I got this book so I can experience this story beforehand, before getting into the audio. So that's great. I have read this book before off a friend. It was God knows how long ago. And it strikes me that this one wasn't adapted first. Yeah, that does make a little bit of sense, because there's so much build up to the characters with the 7th Doctor and Ace's relationship. Then moves forward into Love and War, because this actually ends on a cliffhanger to Love and War, because something has happened to Ace, as in the beginning of Love and War, Ace is crying in a prologue scene, so it doesn't make much sense if you don't really know the content of Nightshade. So yeah, it doesn't make that much sense they didn't adapt this one first, but I'm glad they are. Again, fantastic artwork. I love the Virgin cover arts. I do a lot more than the BBC books, especially the past Doctor Adventures, just with the floating heads. Here it's really well detailed, and I love this creature. No idea what it's called, but I'm really looking forward to this story adapted. Be nice to experience the book firsthand, and the pages here are really white, so that's fantastic. This book is in brilliant condition. It's not a rare book. This is a very easy one to get. And yeah, that's Nightshades. I believe the Time Worm stories are quite difficult to get, especially the first one, Genesis, but don't quote me on that. Next Doctor Who book is Transit by Ben Aranovich. Should recognise that name, written Remembrance of the Daleks. You know, a very popular 7th Doctor story and 80s story overall for many. And yeah, this one intrigues me by just the name and the cover. Looks like something like the Web of Fear, maybe? Based Under Siege? I hope so, with killer robots. I don't know, I'm just judging it by the cover of what the story would be like. I know absolutely nothing on this Doctor Who book, but intrigues me by the writer, and a lot of people do say it's a very good book. It's rather divided by readers, that some people find it just rather of an average standard story or standalone story. Next book, this is regarded one of the best books of all time from the Virgin New Adventures, and it's intrigued me for quite a while. And it's a book by Andy Lanham, Jim Mortimore, and it is Lucifer Rising. Yeah, this one gets praised a lot by fans. They say it's one of the best Doctor Who books of all time. I can say straight away that they won't be able to adapt this book because it has got a monumental amount of characters. So adapting this one would be a big challenge, and plus they probably had to remove some of the characters. Again, I have no idea what this book is about, but it is a very thick book. It's over 300 pages. Yes, it's, God, it's very long, it is. 340 pages, this book, so that is going to take quite a while to read this one. Yeah, hopefully it delivers, as it's such a praised Doctor Who book. Next one, this is a part of an arc, so I don't really want to read this one. I want to get the previous stories within the arc. And it is A Left-Handed Hummingbird by Kate Orman. I know this is set in the Aztecs period. Intrigues me, it does, but I don't want to read it because it's a part of the alternative time cycle arc, I believe it's called. And it starts off with blood heat, so I don't really want to start out reading this book because the stories might intertwine with each other. But from a lot of people, Kate Orman's books got a lot better after this, so that's a good thing. She did The Year of the Intelligent Tigers, I think, and that's a very well loved Doctor Who 8th Doctor book, so I have to see about this one. And then the next one is the end of the alternative time cycle arc of No Future by Paul Cornell. I've heard some negativity on this one, not much positivity, but I haven't looked on many reviews on this one, but for many, it's not one of the best Doctor Who books ever by Paul Cornell, who's a good writer he is. But I'm not too intrigued by this one, so it might be a dud on the actual arc when I finish it off. Out of this bundle, this is the book which least intrigues me. I know it has a villain in this one, I know who the villain is in this book. I think that's the only thing which intrigues me about the book, is the villain within this story, but I don't know. It might be good, you never know. Next book, following from the events of No Future, we have a standalone book now with Tragedy Day by Gareth Roberts. Looks intriguing by the cover, but I have no idea what it's about. I know nothing. From the back blurb of this, it might be a political conspiracy of aliens and someone being assassinated and a political conspiracy forming up. That's what it sounds like from the back blurb, even though it might be completely misleading the story. But you have to wait and see on this when it stands alone, so I can really read this whenever I want to. Next Doctor Who book, which was recently adapted this month, a couple of days ago it's been released. The Theatre of War by Justin Richards. I find this a very odd book to adapt, as this book isn't well loved by many. It's rather of a hated book. But I think Big Finish found that this story had a lot of potential. Yeah, I can see the book format is structured like an actual play. So maybe it just didn't work as a book and it was rather confusing. You just couldn't understand the story. But on audio it would probably work, because I don't think they would remove the format, because that's probably what made Theatre of War unique. So I think they would keep the format of this book. Next Doctor Who book, we have Blood Harvest by Terrance Dicks. This one sounds very interesting, and unfortunately I do have a bit of damage by there, unfortunately. But if I can find it for a cheap price, I may replace it, but I'm not too bothered about it. But anyway, Blood Harvest, I know it's very paradoxical to another book, which makes it rather confusing for some people with goth opera. So yeah, it's very paradoxical when you look at the two of them. Have to see what that's all about. Yeah, as I said, it features the vampires, and I love the Time Lord and Vampire War. I think he discusses a little bit in this book, perhaps. Gets brought up very nicely in the Project Stories and other BBC and Virgin books, so I quite like that. Next book by Jim Mortimore. But anyway, we have Parasite. Seems to be very interesting, especially from the cover of it. I have no idea what it's about. Yeah, the bio of the story keeps this book rather ambiguous, so yeah, I don't really know too much about this one, unfortunately. Yeah, the cover intrigues me nonetheless. Next book, we have a very thick book, and I think it's even more than Interference. I'll measure them. Warlock by Andrew Cartmel. It looks like Warlock is more thicker than Interference. Let's have a look how many pages Interference is. It's 316 pages altogether, and this one, oh god, this is more longer. 362 pages altogether for Warlock. This is probably one of the most biggest Virgin books probably out there now. I think it's longer than Lucifer Horizon. Don't have a clue on what this one's about, but it's going to take a fair old time to read this one due to the size of this book. Well, it seems like it's going to be deal with pretty heavy stuff. Reminds me of Damaged Goods from the back blurb. It's dealing with a new drug on the street, so yeah, it definitely sounds like Damaged Goods quite a bit. So I have to see what this one's all about. Next one by Daniel Blythe. It is Infinite Requiem, and I've heard pretty bad things on this book. Amazon, it really just gets 2 stars and 1 stars from people, and from online reviews on websites it doesn't seem to go down very well either. No, I don't think I'm going to be reading this book in a hurry. Next book we have Original Sin, and this one's being adapted in December 2016, which is a long way away. And this is introduction to Chris and Roz. I do know a fair bit about Original Sin, and I know the villain in this story as I've read this book quite a long time ago before as well. It's remarkable what villain's in this story. Again, I'm not going to say what story it is because it can potentially spoil that story and the book, so no, I'm not going to say what villain it is, but it's magnificent it is what villain's in this story. And I hope for the audio, for other people, it will give you the same shock, and I believe it will. Hopefully the adaptation will do fantastic. I give Big Finish faith that they will. And for the final book by Steve Lyons, who is a fantastic writer, Head Games. I know this is featured in the Land of Fiction from the Mind Robber, and also another book does that as well, Conundrum. Very interesting cover with South Doctor with an LMG, so that looks pretty cool. And yeah, from the cover it also looks like it features Mel as well. Yeah, this one quite intrigues me, it does. So thank you very much for watching my book showcase for December 2015. Now let's put these on the shelf. Thanks for watching and have a good one.